So I'm curious to know from your perspective, were there dark moments that you had to encounter for you to say, hey, there's much more to that than just what's measurable? Or actually, no, you talked about your mom. So can you zoom in on the specific moments where what that have led you to say, hey, there's much bigger things?
I grew up in I grew up in Southern California in a community in the what they call the Valley, which was sweet and safe. And I had great neighbors. My parents would like just come home, ride your bike, just come home for dinner. A very different period of time. And then my parents had a really nasty divorce, and me and my siblings and our family split up. And we were well established, well financed home, and then nothing. So from age 14, my parents were fighting over money. I went to go live with my brother, who was living in Arizona at the time, only a few years older than me. And I had to support myself and literally eating margarine, or what we know of as country crock and bread, for a summer. And then I remember calling my dad saying, "Hey, can you send me money? I don't have anything to eat." He said, "Is there a neighborhood near you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are there houses in that neighborhood?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, go knock on the doors of the neighborhood and see if you can clean their house or wash their windows or do anything." And you have to understand, I had a live-in housekeeper up to that summer. Going from a private school to knocking on people's doors asking for food was a huge leap, but an adventure nonetheless. And then working my way through high school, getting a full paid scholarship to go to college. And so moved from Arizona to live with her. And in order for you to recognize a dark time, there has to be some light, right? So if you're in an extremely dark room, a dark universe, the only way that you know that there's dark is because the light helps to contrast that darkness. And in order for you to be even baked in full light, there also has to be some contrast of some darkness. There were glimpses of joy in that process, even in the darkest times. So by taking care of my mom and being in that, and I can totally relate to what it's like going through a really hard time. And all I can tell you is that the one piece of advice that I was given directly after taking care of my mom was, there's a vacuum. And it sounds like even in your period of time, there was financial success, there was job success, you were in a cerebral zone where you knew how to function and you were a rock star in that space. Then all of a sudden, that dimension got cracked. Now, how do you show up in a completely different way? And what does success look like for you in that completely different way? One piece of advice that I was given was, take care of someone else that is in a worse state off than you are. And I thought, there's no way that anyone is in a worse state off than I'm in. But I started to look at maybe other kids that were in a worse off state than I was in, and seeing what I could do in terms of volunteering and setting up youth groups. And then later in life, leveraging, like when I was on that Peace Corps program after I studied at the Ayurvedic Institute, I noticed that there were some kids on on the Peace Corps program that that was that we were working with, that were eating just a pita sandwich every day. It was just bread. That's it. For lunch and breakfast, just bread. And I asked one of the teachers, I'm like, how come this kid's just eating bread? I thought maybe he just didn't want to eat anything else. And they said that's all that they can afford. So I said, let's create a horticulture program. So we took part of the kids' playground and shovels and dirt, and literally started planting so kids can get more aware of where their food comes from.
Mm,
And so we started planting and growing and showing them how to cultivate so they can get a better understanding. It's just seeds, right? Seeds are very cheap, and water and dirt. Yeah, I went down multiple paths there. But at the end of the day, I think it's trying to find someone or an organization that could utilize your time and your energy and your love and your support, and it will lift you, I think, even more significantly than the people that are receiving the help. And along those lines, and we're here for such a short period of time on this planet, and we can't waste it. Like, we're given this incredible opportunity on this planet to really make an impact. So for me, my channel, my impact really is tea, because regardless of age and gender and religion and demographics and geographic location, the philosophy in life, right? Tea can really help multiple people. So I want to impact as many lives as I can through tea. And for other people, it might be something that's just wanting to help one individual person, or trying to discover themselves on a deeper level, or using technology as a way of impacting the world. But we're here for a breath of air in terms of the time frame of the overall universe. So what can we do to really make that impact, and wake up with that thought every day? Fuck, what can I do to just drive it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't wake up fully inspired every day. It's a process. You got to churn. You got to grind and get up, and it's not about the motivation. It really is about the discipline of creating the impact that will create the motivation. Most people think, when I'm motivated, then I'm going to have the discipline. It's not going to work that way. Got to create the discipline to create the motivation.